Hello, this is Dave Hurwitz, Executive Editor at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk to you about Azerbaijani, or Azeri, however you want to say it, composer Kara Karayev. Now, Karayev was a pupil of Shostakovich, which doesn't mean very much because there were lots of pupils of Shostakovich. The point is, he was a really good pupil of Shostakovich. There are moments that he sounds a bit like his teacher and mentor, but in most other respects, he sounds mostly like himself. His dates, let's see what they were here, were 1918 to 1982. He wrote 3 symphonies, a couple of full-length ballets, some symphonic poems, a lovely violin concerto. The only label that's really spent time with him in trying to present a more rounded picture of his music is Naxos. And Naxos has done a disc of ballet suites, which we're going to talk about in a moment, and his first symphony and a couple other orchestral works, and then his third symphony and a couple other orchestral works, one of which is his violin concerto. Actually, the first symphony and the violin concerto are coupled. The third symphony is coupled with other orchestral pieces. However, he is best known today for his ballet suite, the Seven Beauties, which began life in the late 1940s as a symphonic suite based on an Azeri fairy tale, and then later became a full-length ballet from which a suite was later extracted. So you have to be a little careful to see what you're getting. The ballet suite, there may be a couple numbers missing between them. The interesting thing about this music is that it has been recorded, and with relative frequency. The Seven Beauties has been recorded at least 5 times that I'm aware of. It was recently done on a competing Chandos disc with a couple of the other orchestral pieces that are also on the Naxos discs, and that was billed as a world premiere, that disc, under with Karabits conducting the Bournemouth Symphony. It wasn't a nothing on it, it was a premiere. It was all nonsense. It was rather silly of Chandos to say so. But I'm going to talk about the Nexus Recordings because A, I can play samples, and B, they're as good or better than anything out there. And that's really all you need to know. And they're also less expensive. So if you just get the Chandos stuff, you can get, if you just get the Naxos stuff, then you'll have Karayev, in essence, the best of him, or at least the most of him, because there's still quite a bit of music that we haven't heard yet and that hasn't been recorded. Now, the disc that I really want to discuss is the most popular of his stuff. This is the music to the ballet, the Seven Beauties, and the Path of Thunder. These are ballet suites. Now, the Seven Beauties, as I said, is a fairy tale ballet in the wonderful, splendid tradition of Rimsky-Korsakov and perhaps Khachaturian, and although he didn't write fairy tale ballets, but sort of that national ethnic type ballet music, only it's really good music. I mean, this guy wrote really, really good music. I want to stress that. It's not all socialist realist schlock, you know what I mean? And so, the music is worth hearing all by itself on its own. And it's quite wonderful. I would really like to hear the complete works, the complete ballets. I would enjoy that very much. And I've been after some people to do them. But getting the music may be difficult. And we seem not to be making much progress there. So we'll have to wait and see. But in any case, the Seven Beauties is recorded here by that's the third symphony. Pardon me. Here, let's try this one. By the Royal Philharmonic, directed by Dmitri Yablonsky. And why do I keep holding this up? Sorry, folks. Here you go. It's I see why. Because the other one is on the back. See? So I keep reading the one on the back, thinking I've got the wrong one. It's the one on the front. No, I am not insane. Here you are. Well, maybe I am insane, but here you are anyway. Here are the ballet suites with the Royal Philharmonic. I was right, conducted by Dmitri Yablonsky. So there you go. I'm going to play you a couple excerpts, and we're going to talk about them. Now, the Seven Beauties consists of a waltz, an adagio, the dance of the clowns, and then an introduction and a portrait of the Seven Beauties, who are all wives of the Shah and all live in their separate pavilions, and stuff happens, and I have no idea what, and I don't really care because the music is terrific. one of the beauties is a Chinese beauty. There's an Indian beauty, a Byzantine beauty, a Khwarezmian beauty from Khwarezmia, wherever that is, a Slavonic beauty, the Maghrebian beauty, the Chinese beauty, and then the most beautiful of all the beauties. Here's a bit of the Chinese beauty, because this is just great stuff. It really is. This is how just delightful this is. But best of all, the piece closes with a procession, which is one of the best processions I have ever heard in my life, as far as like ballet procession, march type things go. It's fun, it's colorful, it's tuneful, it goes round and around over and over, but it doesn't bore the tears out of you. It's very similar, like I said, to perhaps, Rimsky-Korsakov, Tsar Sultan, or one of those sort of things. But just listen to this, and it may sound a bit familiar to you. Here's the final procession. You might have heard that before. If you were a fan of 1950s television and you listened to Ernie Kovacs, if you saw the Ernie Kovacs show, a brilliant, genius comedian, he used that music. He used a lot of classical music. He used Bartók. He used some very interesting stuff to back his comedy sketches. And this was one of the pieces he used. And that's where I first encountered Karayev, because I was dying to know what the music was. And I found somebody who actually knew. And they told me. And then I found the old recordings on Melodia. And there have been a couple of those. So, the music has sort of been floating around. Now, The Path of Thunder, this is a very substantial ballet suite, 38 minutes long. It's a story about illicit love in apartheid South Africa. So as you know, the ballet probably served a socialist realist purpose, but the plot, I think, probably had some legitimacy on its own grounds. It's another lovely, lovely score. It has a gorgeous lullaby, a beautiful little serene lullaby in it, and I'm going to play you a little bit of that just so you get a sense of that too. Here's the lullaby. From Karayev's The Path of Thunder. So, as I said, if you're interested in his music, and you should be, you definitely should be, there are 3 discs on Naxos. His late music became, like Shostakovich's, somewhat more gnarly. The Third Symphony is fascinating. It has a cool harpsichord part in it. He was a seriously evolving nationalist composer who wore his nationalism lightly. It didn't merely define everything he was. He really wrote good, solid music that withstands comparison to anything that was being done in the period. And these 3 Naxos discs are terrific, and I strongly recommend that you give them a shot. But give yourself a start. Start out with the Seven Beauties and The Path of Thunder, the 2 ballet suites, just because they're great fun to listen to. And they make a wonderful introduction to this terrific and still far too little known Azerbaijani or Azeri, however you want to say it, composer, Kara Karayev. Keep on listening, folks. Enjoy.